And let's talk about the one dominant player which is going to capitalize on this travel boom which is currently playing out in India. Who better than Dilip Piramal, the chairman at VIP Industries, joining us on the show. Dilip, hi, good morning. Good to chat with you. You know, Ramesh Damani, a very prominent market voice, was saying that the Indian luggage industry is poised for a stellar growth, and that was clearly visible in the kind of strong domestic growth that you managed to post in the fourth quarter as well. Is this kind of growth sustainable? Because most market men believe that, you know, it's the travel boom, like rightly coined, which is currently playing out in India. And I mean, who better than you to capitalize on it?
Yes, I think so. You know, I think first of all, I think you have encapsulated the entire luggage business extremely well. And I think you made a terrific analysis. In fact, I have learned something from that. Just recently, in the last week, I read a report on some international news channel that airport capacity all over the world is under strain. That means they are working at the full capacities, which shows that the aviation boom is really on. In India, aviation is growing at more than 20%. But it's not only India, but all over the world that this is happening. So that is, for us, the best portent, because luggage depends mainly on travel, and in India, of course, on the marriage season. And expenditure on marriages depend on the growth of the economy. So all that is happening now, and we are seeing an extremely good, happy situation. And as you mentioned, that there are three major companies in India, and we have a very good equilibrium. Each is doing well, and we are working in our own spaces. And of course, as VIP, we have the largest market share, more than 50%. So things are going quite well. You mentioned one concern about prices, that they should not get too high. And I feel that competition takes care of that. In fact, this is something which I must tell the government. Quite often they have a tendency to control consumer prices. But the best way to control consumer prices is through competition. Nothing else works better.
Yeah, indeed. So, but tell me, these kind of growth numbers, Dilip, are they sustainable when it comes to VIP in particular? Would you manage to clock in the kind of growth numbers that we saw in Q4? And would volumes in Q4 that you posted continue in the next quarter too? I don't think he's getting my audio. Dilip, can you hear me? Okay, we're just going to repatch Dilip Piramal in just a second, but a very bullish commentary really coming in from him. Like Bobina was rightly highlighting, that the unorganized luggage industry is still a large percentage at 60%, and that really needs to be captured. 40% is the organized market, in which clearly VIP is one of the largest market shareholders and a very, very dominant player at that, with a good 50% market share in the industry out of this 40% organized business. And yeah, their contribution to the revenues is a good 45%, Carlton Caprese about 8%, Skybags about 27%, Alpha and Aristocrat at a 20%. So VIP clearly the largest number there. Dilip, if you can hear me, just wanted to know, you know, considering you're also sounding very bullish, as is every other analyst on the street about the luggage industry, would you be able to better the performance that you've already seen by way of both growth numbers as well as the volume uptake in the last quarter?
Well, at the end of the last quarter, I had made a statement that our profit after tax for the last 5 years has shown an annual compounded growth rate of 32%. And for the first time, I made a statement that we hope to do this, repeat this performance in the next 5 years also. So I think I would stick to that. And of course, the hope is to better it. And of course, there's just been 2 months now of the new quarter, new year, and things are looking good. There will be ups and downs, but on the whole, India is poised on a good growth track. Ultimately, every company's performance depends on the way the economy of that country is doing, and I think finally India has come on a good growth track. As far as luggage is concerned, we are poised also to be quite good internationally because China is getting expensive. China has become a middle income country. So there are more opportunities for India in international markets also now.
Right. Mr. Piramal, yes, there is a fair amount of bullishness on the sector and a fair amount of bullishness on what your company has been doing. Would that bullishness also spill into you looking at expanding? I mean, you're planning to double your capacity in your Bangladesh facility. By when will that come on board? And would it have only soft luggage as a product to offer? Post this expansion, what would be the percentage contribution of soft luggage from Bangladesh versus that from China? So could you just highlight what your expansion plans entail?
Bangladesh is a very small percentage of our overall capacity. It is not even 5% of our soft luggage because we make only soft luggage in Bangladesh. And even if we expand 100%, it doesn't mean much because we are growing at nearly 20% domestically, and that is on a much larger base. So even if that 5% increase, even if we grow 100% in Bangladesh, it will still remain more or less 5%. So that is not a very significant part, but it is there. It is a slight alternative to China. But we are increasing our Indian domestic production quite a bit. It is outsourced, most of it. Hard luggage we are doing internally, and we are expanding that also at our factories in Nasik and Haridwar.
Okay, and what would what would be the investment that you make in these factories? What would be their capacity utilizations, and how much comes on board from these factories?
These factories, you mean all the Indian factories as well as Bangladesh factories? In India, we don't have to spend too much because the buildings are already there. You know, we've had a lot of unutilized capacity in India in the last 20 years. So we are utilizing those, and the overall capital addition will not be more than 20 crores this year in the factories. There will be some other Capex also in our retail shops and software and other miscellaneous items. But overall, the capital expansion is not very high in this year. And ours is not a very capital intensive industry. In fact, half the cost is in the buildings, and which we already have in India. So that is not a very big concern. And in terms of our overall cash flows, it is very insignificant.
Would you be looking at reducing your dependence on China for sourcing, or that's not your focus area right now, Mr. Piramal?
You see, what is happening is that we are increasing our own capacities, but our sales are growing quite well on, as I said, on a higher base. So the percentage of our dependence on China is remaining more or less the same. And to some extent, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, definitely China sourcing will become less. But that is a fairly long-term view. But our India sourcing is definitely increasing.
Okay. Tell me, what is really the hard and soft luggage division? If you had to chalk out a pie of your revenues, what would the breakup be like?
Yes. This is a very interesting question. Let me tell you that before 2000, when consumer goods imports was absolutely banned in India for about more than 50 years, we were entirely a hard luggage company. And after that, after 2000, when India consumer goods imports was allowed into India, we started importing soft luggage from China. And by the year 2010, 75% of our sales was soft luggage. Now, in the last 5 years, hard luggage has seen a revival in the polycarbonate, which is the more expensive hard luggage as compared to the plastic molded, the polypropylene molded luggage. And there is a revival in this polycarbonate luggage. And I think worldwide, it's nearly 50-50, the proportion between hard and soft luggage. Maybe it's going in favor of hard luggage. So that's also happening in India to some extent. But again, because the overall growth rates are quite high and the base of soft luggage is much larger, the proportion is reducing, is changing very slowly in India, but it is definitely changing. And I think it is still about 70, in India it's still 75-25 in favor of soft luggage. And for some time I think this trend will continue.
Okay. Good to hear that, Mr. Piramal. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And, you know, we at TT now are celebrating our 9th year anniversary. So I'm so glad that you could be part of the anniversary week celebrations.
Thank you.